want to shine with the shades of you. The shades of you. I want to shine with the shine with the shades of you. I want to shine with the shine with the shades of you. I want to shine with the shades of you. I've been around. I've seen every kind of love of a fool and technicolor, but now I wanna shine with shades of you. Just float on down, got me lying on the cloud, right here on the ground, but now I wanna shine with shades of you.
Alrighty, hello again to our huggers. Welcome to our Hug Manila 2022 Q2 meetup. And today we're going to talk about HubSpot for service automation, customer service, and ticketing. If this is the first time we're meeting, hi, I'm Sam. I'm your host for today, and I thank you guys so much for taking time to join us this afternoon for an exciting meetup with a very special guest from HubSpot. Okay, so I see that everybody in the chat is saying hello to each other. Yes, I think for some we have first time huggers here, and for others we have veteran HubSpot users as well. So a great mix for this afternoon. All right, so for today, our discussion will focus on HubSpot for automation, service automation, like I mentioned, specifically for customer service and ticketing, with none other than HubSpot Solutions Engineer Megha Bhattacharya. But before that, let's first check our agenda for today. We'll be reviewing Bevy, and then we'll officially open the session with some Hug Manila highlights, and we'll also do a quick icebreaker activity. And later we'll hear Mega's presentation, and we also have a break and a Q&A session, and then some next steps. Okay? So, like I mentioned, if you are a first time user of Bevy, here are some notable functions that you can use here. We have audio and video, Q&A, chat, and also leaving or exiting the meeting. So at the start of the session, the mic and video icons will be red, which means that they are turned off. And when these icons are gray, you can start using your mic. And if at this point your audio and video aren't working, that means that you need to give Bevy permission to access them. So before entering the room, make sure that you check the pop-up box on the top left that asks for permission to access your audio and video. We also have a Q&A feature where you can ask Mega your burning questions about HubSpot service automation or even about the Service Hub. And you can also upvote questions via the thumbs up page, a thumbs up image on the right side. There is also a general chat for thread for all other types of comments called the chat thread. That's where everybody is saying hi to each other now. But you can also send direct messages to individuals by looking for a specific message in the chat and messaging the person from there. Or you can also do that by searching for the name of the person and sending your direct message from the attendees tab. So when you need to leave, which is still later on in the later portion of our program, or if you have a meeting that you need to attend to, simply click the phone icon at the bottom right corner of the screen. And of course, for this session, we do have our session etiquette. Number one, turning on your video is not required, but it's very much appreciated if you did, especially for a group photo later on. Number two, it's best that you keep your mic muted unless you have questions or inputs to share, or you can also unmute your mic later during our Q&A session. We can also use earphones. Like me, I'm using earphones right now, and I think some of you are using earphones too, just for the best virtual experience. And last but not the least, today is your opportunity to meet huggers online. So use that to your advantage and just have fun in today's event. All right. So now that we have Bevy covered, we'd like to officially welcome everybody to the second hug meetup for the year. Woohoo! Okay, so like I mentioned, if you don't know me yet, my name is Sam. I'm your hug leader for 2022. I've been with Hug Manila team since 2021, and I'm also the design guru at Get Creative Corporation. When I'm not working on design, I'm a peace advocate volunteer at the Teach Peace Build Peace movement. And since I am a hub leader, one of my favorite things about HubSpot is the marketing hub. But I'm also more than excited to learn about the service hub today. And since I'm a designer, I'm also a Canva and Adobe enthusiast. Shout out to the designers out there or the Canva users out there. One of the best innovations to date. Okay, and speaking of the designers in our community or the HubSpot users in our community, the first half of the year has been pretty fun for Hug Manila. So let's take a recap of some of the highlights for these last few months. So back in March, in the first quarter, we had our first Hug Meetup of the year, and it was called Why Go HubSpot for Education, where we focused on HubSpot for admissions and marketing lead generation. So in this meetup, we had Gemma Price, the CEO and founder of HubGem Marketing, and she taught us how to automate processes for educational institutions and also how to nurture leads or an educational institution customers from enrollment up until graduation. And recently in April, we had our first standby for the year. That was a game night along with some best practices on HubSpot. And we did this live on our Facebook group. So in this standby, we invited our friends from St. Peter Life Plan, Rona Gyanchan and Jenny De Los Santos, and they talked about how they use HubSpot to engage with their customers and also promote their campaigns. So they talked about the Yodo campaign and how they promote that on HubSpot and also how they engage with customers through creating workflows with the Service Hub. So later today, we'll get to learn more about the Service Hub. Other things also that I want to mention today are some of the things that we do in Hug Manila. So, if you are looking for a job opportunity, or if maybe your company has some job openings related to HubSpot or related to CRM, feel free to share them in our community groups on Facebook and LinkedIn. Or you can also message them to us and we'll relay the information to the Hug Manila community. So, of course, here in Hug Manila, we're also about helping each other grow better as a community and also building a reputation. So, if you have any jobs in mind, feel free to share them with us. All right? Okay, before I continue, give me a second. Let's just lower the volume of our audio, of our music, or maybe cut it out for now so that you can hear me better. Okay? But in the meantime, is anybody excited for learning more about the Service Hub? I'm definitely excited for learning about it. Type in the chat if you've used the Service Hub before. I think some of our attendees here today are already users. Oh, Grace is a 1 month user. Happy monthsary for using HubSpot. So glad that you're here to learn about it too.
Sam, actually, Grace and her team just upgraded to their subscription on HubSpot too.
Wow!
So their 1 month they
Congratulations!
upgraded after a month.
Congratulations to Grace. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Grace is from CVM Finance. Am I right? We're so happy to have CVM Finance
Yes.
on board with HubSpot. to get creative. All right. So, like I mentioned, Hug Jobs, if you have any job openings, feel free to share them with the Hug community. And for today's session, since we are talking about HubSpot for service automation, of course, this session will cover the sort of engage and delight, the delight stage of the flywheel, but it also correlates with the attract and engage stages, because if you know about inbound, they are very much connected to each other. Okay, so much for talking about hug highlights. Before we go into the meat of our session for today, I just want to check in on everybody and do a quick icebreaker. So we're going to do a personality quiz called "Which fruit are you?" Megan said she's hoping she's a mango. Well, we'll find out. In this personality quiz, we'll be going through each question together until we are led to our destined fruit. So, for every question, feel free to share your answers with us in the chat. I'll be sharing mine as well. So, are you guys ready? If you're ready, type in the chat that you are. Mel said she super loves mangoes. Okay. Julian's ready to it. I heard Julian's from the other side of the world. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, let's go. Which fruit are you? First
Sam,
question. Yes.
Julian is on the other side of the world, and it's four is.
The dedication, Julian.
So
Very
claps,
much
yeah.
appreciated. Anyway, maybe today you'll find out, Julian, which fruit are you? For everybody in the chat, answers. I'd love to hear your answer. Sweet or sour? On my end, I'd rather choose sweet. Anybody else on the sweet side with me? Sarah's sweet as well. Kimmy and Belle are on our side too. Anybody on the sour side? Ooh, I see Mega likes the sour and Julian as well. Grace is on the sour side too. So a big chunk of us are on the sweet, but we are balanced with the sour. Balance is really what we're looking for. Okay, so for those who chose sweet, uh, you can choose an option. Either would you go to a tropical getaway or would you choose the countryside? And for those who chose sour, would you go the hard way or the easy way? So since I chose sweet, I'd rather choose the tropical getaway. I love beaches. Ooh, Lay also said tropical getaway along with Sarah. For those who chose sweet sour, Julian said he'd choose the easier way. For Mega, she's giving herself a challenge by going the hard way. For Belle, who chose sweet, she chose the countryside. Yes, very calming. Along with Eric, as well as Kimmy and Rosalind. Maybe one day you guys would have a countryside get together. But for Cheska and Diane, our interns, along with Dex and Dea, and even Michael. Um, I think it'd be fun if we had a tropical getaway. The Philippines is filled with beaches, and tropical getaways are the best ways to go. Anyway, keep your answers. Remember your answers because we'll go into the next part of the quiz. Okay, so for those who chose tropical getaway, would you rather choose yellow or orange? And for those who chose countryside, would you rather choose red or purple? So for the sour side, for those who chose that they'd rather take it the hard way, would you choose pink or crimson? And for those who would take it the easy way, would you choose green or blue? So it's not really a matter of, maybe it could be a matter of favorite color or which color you prefer more. But chat. Okay, so let's read out our comments. Lay and Rose are going for orange, while Dea and Dex are going for yellow. I wonder what fruits you guys will be or are destined to be. Eric chose red. Chet is also yellow, along with Dea and Lay. Mega is a bright pink. I love it. But Cheska and Sarah also are going with orange. Very HubSpot. Kimmy is purple. Very, I like the color purple too. David is going bold with red. Diana's joining Cheska and Sarah with orange. Julian is choosing crimson, which is a really nice red color, or a tone of red. Belle is also going purple with Kimmy, while Michael chose yellow. Princess chose red, and Grace chose blue. In my opinion, I would choose yellow. Oh, Rosalind chose purple. Okay, so are you guys ready to find out your destined fruit? Remember your colors because you are a da 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 da. So for those who chose yellow, you are destined to be a mango maybe in your next life, or maybe your energy exudes a mango. For those who chose orange, which fruit are you in a personality is definitely a papaya. For those who chose pink, you are or can be a grapefruit. And for those who chose crimson, ooh, you can be an orange. Spicy. For those who chose red, maybe the fruit you are in the next life is an apple. And for those who chose purple, you could be a grape. For those who chose green, I'm not sure if anybody chose green, but for those who will, maybe in the future, or those who will watch our recording, if you chose green, your personality is that of a kiwi. And for those who chose blue, you guys are blueberries. So, how do you guys feel about your destined fruits? Is it a yay or is it a nay? Mega said fermented grapes are also likable. Oh, yes. Perfect with cheese, wine and cheese. But seems like everybody is happy with their fruits. I'm pretty happy too that we're a diverse group of fruits. Anyway, thank you guys for joining our activity. And you may be wondering why we took that personality quiz right now. Well, this personality quiz is actually in the form of a flowchart. And for those who are familiar with flowcharts, they are one of the key components of automation in customer service. So I believe that with the right tools like HubSpot Service Hub and automation, we can create seamless customer service automations and workflows that would ease your service processes in your business. So I'm now excited to learn also from our speaker today, and I hope you're as excited as I am. So without further ado, let's now proceed to the session proper of our meetup. Here are some cool nuggets about our speaker for today. After more than 7 years of driving sales and business development in late 2021, Megha moved to a pre sales role. Currently, she is honing in on her engineering educational background and is taking her passion for technology to help companies evaluate the right tools for growing businesses. If you're wondering what the next best step after a sales role is, she is happy to have a chat with you. Mega's sales experience also spans technology startups and SaaS companies like Tableau and OutSystems in Singapore and Dubai, focusing on customer growth and building partner ecosystems across India, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, of course, the Philippines, and other emerging markets in Asia. She started out as a partner specialist in HubSpot back in 2020, and she is now a solutions engineer helping businesses in Asia. Hashtag grow better with HubSpot. So, huggers, let's put our virtual hands together for Megha Bhattacharya. Hi, Megha.
Thanks, Sam. And also props to you on getting my last name pronunciation perfect.
Yeah.
Almost most people don't get that. So great job. I'm a little sad that I was a grapefruit, but I am starting to enjoy grapefruit a lot more the older I get. So I guess it's just an indication. And yeah, thank you for having me today. Really excited to meet everyone. I start sharing my screen, just on the chat, just to make sure no one's already gone off to sleep, just put in an emoji that describes how you are feeling right now. It could be the sleepy emoji as well. All good. Of course, Julian. I mean, it's 4 a.m. I see. I see Samantha is in the thinking mode. We've got a lot of smileys. Kimmy is an angel, super innocent. And we've got Mary, who is in love with Service Hub, I'm hoping. And we've got some nerds in the room. I'm a nerd at heart, so I'm happy to see that, Dominic. All right, I'm sharing my screen. I hope everyone can see it. Samantha, just give me a nod if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. Perfect. All right, let's get started. So again, today's session, we're a small group, so let's try and make it as interactive as possible. There is a Q&A session and a panel discussion at the end of it, but main agenda for today is to walk you guys through why customer service and what is Service Hub all about, and some of the features of Service Hub that you can start exploring, and also testing your um, uh, testing the health of your service business. Also, is something that you can do with HubSpot Service Hub. Before I dive in, just a bit of an introduction. And Samantha was already really nice and at describing my past experience. But just to give you guys a little bit of background, before HubSpot, I also worked at Tableau and OutSystems, and I worked at startups, which basically meant I did everything from payroll to try and understand what our customer support looks like. So I think I have a bit of experience with customer support, and that allows me to be here today. Working, I actually do improv comedy on the weekends with my troupe. In fact, my team actually performed at the Manila Improv Festival a few years back. Unfortunately, I couldn't go down, but it's always been on my list. The only place in Philippines I've actually been to is Boracay. I know it's super basic, but I'm hoping now that travel's opened up, I can go a little bit more. And I love watching Netflix and all sorts of crime documentaries. And when I am bored of all of that, I actually hang out with my cats. So one of them is actually just sitting here. So I hope he's not too distracting. Um, let's move on. Before we dive into today's sessions, I just wanted to get a feel of how today's group is like and also understand why we are here, right? Because customer service, everyone's talking about it, but what does it actually mean and what's the value of it? So just head down to menti.com and use this code. Let me see if I can copy this into the chat. There you go. And just put down some common points why you think customer service is important. Once you type it in, I will be able to see your answers here. Customers always right. I'm hearing this one after quite some time. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Providing an avenue for feedback, definitely. I feel like that's one of the pieces of the whole customer journey that very often is forgotten or is an afterthought, and they only realize when you get a bunch of bad reviews online, and that's when you realize that feedback would have been important for retention. That one is a very important one. In fact, that is something that I will touch upon in a bit as well. Avenue for growth, 100%. We're all HubSpot users and customers and HubSpot lovers. So the flywheel is our go-to. And there's one thing we've learned about from the flywheel is that everything contributes to the growth of business. I love this. It's a springboard and foundation for loyal customer creation and the start of a long term relationship that generates repeat business. Absolutely. It's like when we go on dates, we usually ask, at least I used to, always ask in between a date saying that, are you having a good time? Is there something else that you want to do? Is this movie fine? Or are true crime documentaries too much? So that's also a way for me to like find out and get some feedback. It's not that different when we are working with customers as well. Company's reputation, that's a good one. Reduce turnovers, important for retention, absolutely. Satisfied customers, thriving business, 100%. I mean, what are we without our customers, right? Ensure repeat customers, for sure, upsell opportunities, being able to grow the account, increase the lifetime value of customers, ensures I make the most of what I bought. 100%, right? Like, I mean, we are ultimately trying to solve for our customers. And if they are making a purchase with you, you want to make sure they're making the most of it as well. So, yeah, all great answers. So, we are all on the same page when we say that we are sure that customer service is an important piece of our business. One of the things that is important from HubSpot's point of view is actually when we look at acquiring a new customer, the cost of that is almost 5 to 25 times more expensive than retaining an existing one. And this was based out of a Harvard Business Review research that was done about the value of keeping the right customers. So even if I give up on all the happy, warm, and fuzzy thoughts about why customer service is important, the number one reason you should be worrying about customer service is because it's a lot more expensive to actually get a new customer than to retain one. So if there's one thing that you take off out of today's session should be this, that acquiring a new customer is way more expensive than retaining an existing one. All right, I have another question for everyone just to make sure I know what everyone's background is like. How familiar are you with HubSpot Service Hub? So go back to your phones and go into menti.com. You should be able to see the screen and just let me know where you are on the scale from John Travolta being absolutely lost to my favorite, Jason Momoa, who loves Service Hub. We've got some Jasons in the room. That's fair. Lots of explorers right now. A lot of Benedict Cumberbatches. Okay, I'm kind of glad that I'm not in a room with a lot of what is service hub people, but I'm glad we have a lot of folks who are currently exploring. That means that a lot of the things that I'm going to show you eventually is going to be super useful from that exploration point of view as well. Can we get a few more people to respond and then I'll close it out. Okay, I think it's plateauing. So good to know. I'm hoping we can answer more and more of the questions. Samantha, I believe, is tracking the questions that you're putting in the chat. But yeah, feel free to jot down your questions and we can take care of it. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and I'm going to show you a quick little video about the HubSpot Service Hub and how it connects with the CRM. And this should give you like a really good introduction to what the HubSpot Service Hub is about. And then we can take the features down from there.
At HubSpot, when we think of the buyer's experience, we think of 5 core elements. Content to reach people who are unaware they exist. Messaging to start conversations with them. Automation to streamline the process. Reporting and insights to understand what's working and what isn't. And of course, an underlying layer of data to capture all of this and to optimize accordingly. For most companies, this means cobbling together multiple systems, leading to poor team adoption and huge inefficiencies. Thankfully, HubSpot is built differently. Because we crafted a single source of truth from the ground up, our customers get a product that helps them improve their buyer experience with one customer record, not many. Speed up team efficiency by combining efforts into one intuitive UX, and reduce the total cost of ownership by taking a strategic approach to consolidation of customer tech, making it the one true CRM platform. When we tell our customers that CRM is no longer just a sales tool, it's the heart of scaling businesses, we're saying that a CRM platform should be customizable without compromise. It should bend to meet your needs without breaking. A CRM platform should be deeply connected, extending beyond sales to bring together best in class tools for marketing, sales, customer service, and operations people. A CRM should be customer centric, fueled by seamless customer interactions instead of manual data entry. And a CRM platform that's been carefully crafted, not cobbled, is best equipped to deliver on these essentials. Because Service Hub is part of the HubSpot CRM platform, it helps teams scale their support, delight their customers efficiently, and drive retention and growth. Businesses can use data to understand the complete history of every customer, leverage automation to resolve customer issues quickly and efficiently, create knowledge based content that aligns with their brand, report on customer insights and the efficiency of their service, and tackle all their messaging right from the CRM to lead with proactive service and exceptional customer experience. Service Hub users can solve individual customer problems as they arrive, reduce complaints, or improve top level metrics like your CSAT and NPS, improve customer experience metrics that impact business performance, and establish customer experience as a core component of corporate strategy. Service Hub puts a business's customer first with an easy and connected platform that delivers authentic service. Service Hub is easy to learn, use, and love, with customizable tools and views that drive team efficiency. Powerfully connected, transform feedback insights into actionable customer journey improvements, and provides consistent, authentic interactions. Deepen customer relationships with flexible channels and empathy at scale. Service Hub has been designed to become the number one customer service solution, powered by the world's number one CRM platform for scaling companies.
All right. One of the best things about Service Hub is actually it's got a relaunch earlier this year. So, which is why it's a very good time for us to have this conversation and explore Service Hub as a part of your HubSpot stack as well as your customer support teams, right? So, when we look at the customer service solution, we actually are trying to solve for three things, right? One is what we just saw in the video. First one was about solving customer support at scale. That's where having help desk becomes super useful because it's a combination of self-service was plus making sure we're quickly answering questions that are coming up from our customers. The other is making sure it's a seamless service for them. It shouldn't, I mean, think about the last time you had an issue with Uber or Grab, and think about how frustrating the experience might have been for you. And try and imagine that same situation when your customers are using your products and are encountering some issues, and if it took them, three or four different types of communications to finally get a response from you, how frustrating that would be. Having said that, you also want to be able to make sure that your customers are actually engaging with you either on Facebook Messenger or on SMS or email or chatting on your website. So you want to make sure you're combining all of that into having something like an omni-channel service on your end. So you are there where your customers are, and in the back end, your support teams and your service teams are able to service them well as well. The last one, and this kind of ties back to some of the things that we were discussing earlier in the Mentimeter, right? Which is ultimately it's an avenue for us to repeat customers, increase retention. It's a way for us to build long term relationships. Again, it's important for us to build relationship with these customers, and that's where it's super handy that the HubSpot CRM solution that everyone is already using and loves, you are connecting the service hub aspect to it. So now you're also supporting your customers, not just until they become your customers, but even after. And some of the ways you're able to do that is by, of course, setting up some surveys, trying and understand, getting some feedback, trying and understand how happy they are with your solution. But also, on the other hand, this information is now still a part of your CRM. What that means is you're also able to use that information for your marketing channels. Imagine a situation where you want to run a marketing campaign for some of your existing customers who are in the lowest tier of your product. It's a very common use case for HubSpot. So when we've got starter customers, we want to be able to track and see how happy they are by the number of tickets they're generating and what's the average NPS score like. Based on that, our marketing team segments our complete database and then runs different kind of email campaigns for each of them. And that is what the value of a fully integrated CRM system with the automation brings in. And that's where our three different types of features are categorized. I'm just going to take a quick pause and see if there are any immediate questions I can answer. Okay. Sam, is there anything in the chat? Actually, yeah. Can I take your help to see if there are any questions?
Sure.
Awesome.
Currently, there are no questions. I think they're all pretty much engaged with what you're talking about.
Perfect. All right. Let's move on to the next bit. And then I will actually give you guys a little bit of a view of how the system looks like, right? So, Service Hub, in one way, is trying to put your customers first with an easy, simple tool, a connected platform, and delivering an authentic service. So, the three aspects that you need to focus on, whether you're using HubSpot or not, to be honest, is that you need to have a help desk. You have to make sure you are there on the channels that your customers are at and connected with your CRM and automate that process, because ultimately you're trying to gain scale with whatever kind of support system you are building. So let's dive into the help desk, right? Some of the features of HubSpot that come super handy is our shared inbox, our custom views of that inbox, and also managing agent presence. So that our customers know that someone's live. How does that look? In the backend, this is something that your team must already be used to. Seeing under our conversations tab, there's an inbox tab, and this is where you're basically seeing all the engagement that is coming in from your customers and your visitors on the website. So you've got different chats coming in, you've got some emails coming in, you've got some conversations through Messenger, some forms that are being filled up, and everything over here. Now, a few things that you can start doing is start responding right from here. Just putting down your SMS messages, responses to any kind of requests that are coming in. The other thing on the right is you are familiar with using companies, you are familiar with getting the contact information, but there's also a cute little tab here called tickets. So you can actually generate tickets over here right from the inbox itself. Let's take an example right here, right? Let's say someone actually emailed, um, let's pick this one, right? That someone is actually having a conversation right now. And let's try and create a ticket out of it, right? So let's assign it to someone who is in our support team. The time to resolution is still pending. The ticket name is about when is the Auckland, New Zealand hug happening tomorrow. And we can see some more edits to it. And then I can save it here. And now a ticket is actually generated. Now you can also do that and be able to chat with all these folks that are coming in and you're creating tickets out of that. So every action that is happening in this one little inbox field. And you're also now able to create different views. So let's say we want to create a view which are specifically to the tickets that are high priority. So all the tickets that have the highest priority assigned to it, you will be able to see it in one single view. So you know at a time that this is the one that you need to focus on first before you move on to another view. Just helping you segment the noise that you're seeing from your requests coming in into a much more cleaner and a more methodical manner. The other aspect to it, and which we have spoken about a lot of times in the past, which wasn't available on the HubSpot system, was the ability to have something called as SLAs, right? So when we are creating SLAs, we also want to be able to create them in a way where we are, seems like I lost my tab, but let me go into this. So if you notice over here, there's like a red button which shows that there's an alarm clock. What that means is we are actually noticing that the reply is overdue, meaning there is an SLA that we are setting up over here. because we want to make sure we are answering any kind of query that is coming into our inbox as early as possible. And you are now able to set that information as well. So let's go into our settings and you will be able to see it under our SLA. And you can set up what are the SLAs that you want to set up for each of your low, medium, and high conversations and tickets that are happening. You can even base it on the working hours, and you can apply to all tickets, the SLA to all tickets. And the best part is you can do it both to see how quickly your support reps are actually replying and also how quickly your tickets are being closed. What happens often is that for high priority SLAs, you want to make sure that they are answered the quickest and you want to track that as well. And on the same time, you want to make sure you are answering every question, every query that is coming into your inbox as quickly as possible as well. So this just allows you to manage that and get some reporting on it as well. The reporting, we will look into it in a bit, but this is something that is going to really help you charge and make sure that your queries are being answered at the fastest speed possible. So just to go into some of these, right? So there's a shared inbox which helps you connect your email, your live chat, your Facebook Messenger, everything into one. There are some new options that are going to be coming in soon, which I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but you will be able to add a few more channels into HubSpot Inbox soon. And you can forward these emails and switch through the channels through the different support views. The second thing is, like I mentioned earlier, you are able to create some custom views that will allow you to organize and prioritize the different issues that are coming into your inbox and help you categorize the noise a little bit. The other bit is you're also able to set up whether a particular um, issue that you're answering right now, if any of the other agent is looking into it. If there's someone else already working on it, you want to skip that and move on to the other piece. So that just helps your teams be a bit more productive and reduce any kind of duplicate work that they might be doing. The other bit, and this is also an exciting one, especially for teams which are on the go, the ability to work with tickets is now actually available in our mobile app as well. This is the UI. Unfortunately, I am not able to show my mobile screen right now, but you can test this out in the mobile app right away, and it is available for all our users. The next one is a bit more on the self service side. So I'm sure you have come across products that you're using, consumer products that we're using, right? Whether it's Uber, Spotify, Netflix. Whenever we are stuck, the first thing we do is Google. And you want to make sure you're doing that for your customers as well. Not sure how many of you have actually explored creating one, but you can create a very simple knowledge base on HubSpot. So this is one that has been created on HubSpot where you can see it's been segmented as well. I can go into it and see what are the different questions and queries that are being answered. I can go into each and every one of them, and I can also search for answers. Let's say if I'm looking for anything related to APIs, I can search for APIs and it just creates it. I know this looks quite sophisticated in terms of the functionality, but essentially in the back end, it's very simple to create it. So what I'm doing is I've created a knowledge base. I can click on create an article. I can add in the question that I'm answering. Why is Manila Hub the best one? Let's say hosted by Sarah and Sam, right? And you can go ahead and add more questions in. You can edit what the URL should look like. What category do I assign it to? Who do I give access to this information? And and this is where it becomes super handy to understand what kind of topics your customers are searching for. You can actually tag some of these different words. Let's say billing related queries, right? Or broadband related queries. And you should be able to tag all of this. And later, once you go live with all your articles, you will actually be able to see what are the most searched for comments and types as well, right? Let's say I'm just going to leave with unpublished changes for now. but you're basically able to see insights into how much time people are actually on an article, what are the number of views that you've gotten on those topics. There's a helpful, unhelpful rating, and you'll find this below most self service pages. You can also see, and this is what my customers love using, are the search terms with no results. So maybe there are some questions that your customers have that they're not able to find solutions to on your website, and you want to track them, and you want to use this and create and tag some articles based on that. So let's say if someone is searching a lot for CTAs, right? I want to create that tag, add an article, maybe something from using Biglytics. I'm just going to add a random one, and I'm going to save it. What this is going to do is next time when someone is searching for CTAs, they will actually have the article that they need. And this also allows you to see which are some of the topics that are important. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, which are the topics that are important? One thing that our product team does pretty often is that they look at what are some of these common terms, and then they know what are the topics that are, I guess, most pertinent with our customers, right? So that also gives them feedback about what are some of the product ideas they should be working on. Because most searched items on our knowledge base typically means people, more and more of our customers are looking for that, and that's just a great indication of some of the topics that from a product development perspective we can focus on. And that brings us to the knowledge base. Of course, there's a lot more you can do, but the starting point would be to actually make use of some of our existing templates, and you can create something that looks like this. The other side to it is, if you notice, there are some menu functions over here. You'll see this: submit a ticket, go to the customer portal, and sign out. I'll come back to it in a bit. The one thing that I want to cover before I dive into the other parts is submit a ticket. So you can also include a submit a ticket function on your knowledge base. So that's also, let's say, as a customer, I'm coming in, I'm searching for something, I don't find it, I should be able to submit a ticket about it. And here it will look something very similar to how it is on a normal form, where I can type in, like, let's say, my this details. Now everyone knows my address, and I can add in what category of issue it is, maybe some details about my issues, and then once I submit it, it is back and sitting in my inbox that we looked at earlier. So everything, all the different channels that we are working on is coming together, and knowledge base is the best way you can provide any sort of self-service help for your customers. That's about knowledge base. Now, the newest and some of the one of the most asked features was actually customer portal. So, customer portal is a way for you to create a portal for your customers who can come in and see what are the pending tickets. How does it look like? So let's say I'm a customer of Biglytics. I can actually go into and have a look at my customer portal, which will show all the different tickets that are generated and all the details of those tickets as well. And I can see that they're still open. They haven't been answered yet. And I can use this to also send more testing details. When are you going to answer? And I can send that over, and all this will still reflect back into the inbox. So this is just one single place for you to track all your tickets, and all your customers can track all their tickets, even log a support ticket right from here. So a lot of times what happens, especially if you are selling into bigger companies, they want to be able to see all the pending tickets in one place, and having access to a customer portal allows them to do that as well. So one of our features that we are most excited about, and I hope you guys can start seeing some benefit of setting this up for your customers as well. All right, before I dive into omni-channel service, Sam, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I think Mega, we have one in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, the question is gone. Oh, there it is. One of our attendees is asking, are all three components, the one you mentioned, help desk, omni-channel service, and having a fully integrated CRM and automation necessary, or can two of these components work without the other?
Great question. So I would say it depends on the nature of your business, the volume of your customer base, and three, what are the different avenues of channel of providing service do you have, like, that you can afford at this point. When I say afford at this point, I don't just mean from a price perspective, but also from a resource perspective, right? With your existing team, how much can you do? I would say you can start off with, let's say, if you have a very big database, I would say going for a help desk system would be better before you focus on omni-channel and an automated CRM system. Having said that, I don't think all these three are completely different aspects. They're all connected in some way. And if you're already a HubSpot user, you kind of have an edge because you can make use of some features from each of these buckets with depending on which tier of service hub you go with, right? But great question. Think about how big your database is of your customers. Think about how many resources you have, and think about what are some things that are most valuable to your customers as well. Another thing that always works for my customers, and I feel like for any business that's super useful, is to interview your successful customers and see what are some of the ways they would like to be serviced. That will also give you some ideas on what you can implement using some of the tools that are available on Service Hub. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think it did.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to the next bit. And I'm going to go a little quick because I just noticed the time. I didn't realize we only had 10 more minutes. So I'm going to go a little quick. Omnichannel service focuses on being able to take chats from different channels. And one of the most important bits is actually being able to build this out. I don't know how many of you have actually tried building chat flows for marketing, but it's actually super simple to build the same one for service. So this is one that I was looking at earlier, which is a sales plus service kind of chat. And it looks something like this, where you can basically ask what kind of questions do you have. Let's say I need technical support, and they just ask me a few more questions. Let's say my name, and then they will ask me what my issue is, and I can make sure that I'm able to create a ticket right from here, right? Um, Very similar. You notice how it actually asks me whether I've searched the knowledge base for it. I say yes, and then I can see what it actually suggests. And it'll automatically create a ticket right from the chat. The same thing can be built for, excuse me, for our Facebook Messenger as well. So we're covering multiple channels that our customers are at. And you will be able to create both a chatbot plus a live chat to do the same. So we've got our live chat, we've got our chatbots. You can run the help desk automation to be able to create some tickets based on the chat flow that we just saw. So it allows you to, again, connect everything back to the inbox that we saw earlier. Now, one of the things that we just released is the ability to get some feedback right after a chat. You must have seen this a lot in a lot of consumer facing products. This just gives you a very good idea of whether they were happy with their service or not. Super easy to set up. It comes by default with HubSpot's chat flows right now, just to make sure we are getting some feedback and aggregating that information. The Facebook Messenger integration has been around for a while, and this is something that is super handy in markets such as Philippines, right? Because we've got so many of our customers who are on Facebook majority of the time. So you want to make sure that they are able to speak to you just like they would be complaining to their friends about your brands directly with you, and also generate a ticket and get that question answered. A new feature, and unfortunately, this is not something that is available in our regions yet, but we have the capability of getting inbound calling. If you have a business based out of the US or you're serving US clients, this is something that you can look into. Think of it as like almost like a helpline number that you can set up. But yeah, right now it's only available for US, UK, and Canada. Hopefully by next year we should hear something about Asia as well. The last one, and this kind of ties back to the previous one as well. So once we are doing customer calls, not as different as our calls on the sales side, right? When we are making calls, we actually have the capabilities of recording a bunch of these calls. So I know in the Philippines we can't call directly using HubSpot, but if you're using something like Zoom, Just Call, or Kixi, you will be able to bring in some of those calling recordings into HubSpot for the conversation intelligence to actually pick it up and break it down. So if you guys have heard something like Gong, this actually does something very, very similar. And this is available in our enterprise tier. And something to figure out if you are using Zoom, Just Call, and Kixi. The next piece is about the CRM integration. I'm going to just walk through right now. I'm sorry, I can't take any more questions immediately, but we will get to it in the panel discussion. So we mentioned a bit about what is the importance of getting all of that together into a CRM system. So we want to be able to see these tickets that are being generated. We want to be able to have some sort of automation. And how that looks like is something like this, right? So it's very similar to our sales product where you are creating a pipeline of the tickets. And you'll notice there are some very typical things like new ticket, waiting on a contact, waiting on a customer success, additional research, and ticket resolved. So the time that is taken from here till here is what we call as time to close. And you'll notice the priority levels will also appear, and then we can click and go into the details, and you will see who it is connected with, what company it is associated with, so on and so forth. And in the back end, you can set up what these stages look like. You can say what would be the properties that should be automated or should be updated. And on the other tab, you can create some sort of automation as well. So let's say you want to automatically update a ticket status the moment a service rep sends an email over to the customer, you change it to waiting on contact. Just again, maintain sanity and allows you to track whether tickets are not being resolved because your reps are not answering, or is it because your customers are not answering. So this just gives you a super quick view, allows you to automate that. The next bit is actually about getting feedback, and that's a huge part of what HubSpot's or using Service Hub in the first place is, right? And one of them is NPS scores. I don't know how many of you currently do NPS scores, but that's one of the things that are super important to understand how happy someone is, how likely they are to actually talk about your brand to others, recommend your brand to others. Apart from NPS, there are a few others that you can do as well. CSAT, I know a lot of customers still use CSAT, and I think it's a really good one to try and understand how happy they are with your current business and how likely they are to use your product to the greatest extent. There's also a customer effort score. I would recommend this usually after an interaction that your customers have had with your service teams. And now the most important one is actually the custom survey. So you can go ahead and even ask your own custom questions to build out some surveys that look like this. And currently you can send it in an email, and you can also create a shareable link if you're looking to kind of add that link into an email. These are some really handy ways to get some feedback and use that feedback to do any kind of marketing or even improve your product. And all this information that is being filled up is actually stored in the CRM system. So if your marketing team wants to focus on some sort of email marketing campaigns for people who are scoring you lesser than a certain amount, you can set that up as well. I would love to show that to you because I think you'll find value out of it. So if you go into, like, let's say creating a particular customer satisfaction page, you will see there's a tab called automation. Now, what that automation allows you to do is actually create some follow ups depending on what the response has been like. So if someone's unhappy, you want to create a task and assign it to maybe the sales rep or the account manager and make sure that this is answered at the quickest way possible. On the other hand, if they are happy, you can ask them, maybe send an email asking them if they have a referral for another customer who they think would get value out of your product. So you can set certain amount of automation with these kind of surveys as well. And yeah, like I mentioned, custom surveys are now the newest addition to our survey options. That's something that you can make use of and create any kind of form. Now, the last bit, and I would say this is one of the most important bits. All this work that you're doing, you want to be able to measure it. And the best way to do that is by our reporting, because everything, again, sits in the same CRM system. So, all your customer data, all your service data, everything is in one space, and you want to be able to track that. This is actually a very typical service dashboard where you're tracking like how many tickets have you received over time. You're trying to see how many are there in the previous 60 days versus this 60 days. This is a really positive graph. On the other hand, you can see what are some of the different categories. Maybe there's a product issue is the biggest one, then you know that there is certain amount of product improvements that you need to focus on. You will be able to see what the NPS looks like, tickets by different statuses, by different source. If you notice that nobody is actually coming in through phone, then maybe it's pointless having a phone number. If you see maximum coming over through form, try and find out, make sure that form is more accessible to your customers. You can also track how your different support reps are doing, how many tickets they're answering, how many tickets they're closing, and you're also able to track how quickly they're doing that. So, really handy dashboards available for you to track the work that your support team is doing. And on the feedback side, you're also able to track how many feedback forms are being answered, what's the rating, average rating like, and so on and so forth. There's also certain amount of analytics that we are working on. This is to actually show us what's the average time to close ticket, what is the chat wait time looking like, what is the support volume looking like. This just allows you to track and see how you can improve the quality of your customer service. And these are some analytics. We are working on some more things from the customer satisfaction side as well, but this is just in the beta right now. But the service analytics are available right now. Right. So, just a quick summary on some of the things that we discussed. So, we have got tickets, we've got feedback surveys, we've got knowledge base and customer portal. All of this sits together to under our inbox. So, you're actually able to track all the tickets that are being generated. You can have chat flows created so that you can have different sort of live chats and chats available on the different channels. It could be your website, it could be forms, it could be your Facebook Messenger, and some new channels that are going to be released by the end of this month. And all of that brought back together with our reporting. So you're able to look at what the qualitative and the quantitative data looks like and how good your customer service is looking. Feel like I did a big long monologue, but I'm hoping to take some questions from you later. That's over from my side. Over to you, Samantha.
Thank you so much, Mega, for that super insightful presentation and side by side demo on customer service and HubSpot Service Hub. I know our huggers learned a lot, and I'm sure they're also curious to know more about it. Some have already started asking questions. So, before we go into Q&A, as promised, we're going to have our 5 minute break right here. So it'll give you guys time to stretch, go to the restroom, maybe get coffee, and bring your coffee over. But be sure to hurry back because I already saw some questions in the chat, and I can't wait to talk about them. So currently it's 5:02. I'll see you guys back at 5:08. See you in a bit. All right, is everybody back here in our bevy room? Kindly type in the chat if you are, or also, while we're waiting for people to come back, do let me know if the audio for our music is good, or if it's a bit too loud from where you're listening from. Yeah, are you guys here? Just type in the
Hey,
chat if you
Samantha,
are. Yeah, Mega's back. All right,
reduce the volume a little bit.
sure, we can do that. Yeah, so while we're adjusting our volume, for everybody in the chat, for everybody in Bevy, just type in our chat if you're here and you're back. Um, so Mega here in the Philippines, what we call our afternoon snacks is merienda. So if you are having merienda now, type in the chat what your merienda is. And there are different kinds of food you can have for merienda. Is anybody having merienda right now while we're doing our chat our Q about to do our Q&A? Mega's having coffee. Lay is having coffee too. Kape. Ooh, Grace is having pillows. That's a chocolate snack that we have in the Philippines. Buko juice for Sarah. Oh, Kimmy's having
I thought
cheese.
Mary meant she's taking a nap when she said pillows.
But yeah, pillows is a fun chocolate snack. Um, but yeah, Princess is having fries and balot. Oh, have you tried balot, Mega? The duck
I
egg.
couldn't. I just couldn't. I was a bit scared. But I'm sure my cats would have loved it. Because can you see them? They're just sitting here.
Ooh, additional huggers in our meetup today. But anyway, so much for food and filling our mind. We should also fill our minds also with food for thought in our Q&A. So now I'm gonna call over back to the stage Megha Bhattacharya, also our special guests, um, Sarah Medilo, the chief advocate, and Lay Castillo, our head of innovations from Get Creative. This will be our panelists, our hug panel for this afternoon. So, hello, Sarah, Mega, and Lay. Are you guys here?
Hi everyone,
Yes.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm wearing my special shirt today because it's we're leading up to this soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I think I'm
inbound.
hearing a fan. Are you
Ooh,
hearing a fan? Yeah. Yeah. All right. It's okay.
I think it might be from Lay. Oh, there.
Let me
Okay, good.
try.
Oh, I think the fan went away. Anyway, but yeah, I good that you mentioned inbound
Number
because
one.
we will be talking about inbound later on. But thank you guys for joining our hug panel. For the attendees here, your panel is actually the best panel for Service Hub now. So if you have any questions, even the hardest ones about the Service Hub, you can ask them. So while we wait for your questions to come in, we do have one from Dominic Villa, and he asks, I'm new to service automation. If I go for HubSpot, are there specialists I can reach out to for guidance? I think maybe
I think
Sarah or
May,
Sarah can
well,
Lay
take
has.
it.
I
Maybe
can take that from the sales side,
From the
but I
sales
think
standpoint,
later Lay will respond from the service side. So from the sales side, definitely in Get Creative, we service and help customers who are trying to figure out the right CRM, the right system for them. When we talk about CRM in Get Creative, it's always the whole, following the customer throughout their entire journey. So from discovery to engagement to when we're keeping them happy, to make sure that they're retained. We do that in the HubSpot portal, and I know we have lots of customers who are clients of Get Creative who are joining us today, and they've gone through our process. So for the new ones who are exploring HubSpot, just to be open and transparent, our process is quite clear. We do a discovery with you first. We try to understand what you need, and then we explore. And that's only time we will try to put together a custom implementation for you. But in terms of the specialist, I mean, as you try on HubSpot, I think that's where Lay can step in and share like how the service side handles that.
Yeah. So first, we have a specialist also during the discovery phase. That's where Mega comes in as the solution architect. Depending on the complexity of the requirement, then we can invite someone like Mega to get an understanding of what really our use case is, and then tailor fit how how we can get more value out of HubSpot. And then once we are done with that stage, and we are sure that we're going into HubSpot, and then this is the CRM that will really fit our needs, then my team will step in, and then we'll start onboarding you depending on the use cases. So that's the reason why we try to get into so much calls during the discovery process, is that we wanted to understand all the requirements, all the nitty gritty, all the small details and stuff. And then so that when we hop into the onboarding, we'd be able to tailor fit uh, an onboarding or implementation process for you that will exactly fit your use case. So that's how we do things in Get Creative.
Ooh, thank you, Sarah and Lay. Maybe you want to share some things too.
Honestly, I think everyone on this call, like the folks from Great Creative, are the best people to speak to if you are looking for some sort of support with Service Hub. Apart from all of that, there are a few things I can recommend. One is there's a HubSpot Academy course which is focused on Service Hub. That's something that you can do. The other is we've also put together not just for the service of product itself, but how to go about understanding service and service automation. That's also another course that you can do completely free of cost as well. So you yourself can become the expert that you're looking for. And third, just like how Sarah and Lay's team is providing these kind of services, some of our HubSpot implementation side folks as well, we provide services as well. But to be honest, I think you're in better hands with Lay and Sarah than going in and actually trying to find the right implementation support from HubSpot directly.
Thanks,
So
Mega,
for
for
those who are also exploring, for those who are exploring HubSpot, sorry Sam, I just put on the chat the link to the HubSpot Academy course, so you can check it out as well. There you go, Sam.
yes. Okay. Yeah, I think my bad. I accidentally put it in the questions. But anyway, yeah, like what Pega said, there are courses online, but it is best also to have specialists or people to help guide you with using the Service Hub. Well, I think what's nice also with us at Get Creative is we get to answer your problems firsthand. I know with Lay and the innovations team, they have a whole timeline wherein you get to focus on the different parts of the service hub and really, in Filipino, we call it himay, hini-himay yung, we kind of break down the different parts of the service hub, which is pretty cool. Okay. Diane also asks, what if I want to be a free account user and later on upgrade to starter or pro? I guess they saw that in your slides, Mega, some are for the free account, and some are for other the starter or pro. How is the transition for that?
Yeah, just with most things with HubSpot, there are some things that are available directly with the free software. And then, as and when you kind of upgrade to the different tiers of the product, different functionality becomes available to you. And in some cases, the limits also increase. So, if you go into your systems right now and start with the free system, well and good, set up maybe your ticket pipeline, set up some of the chat flows that you can have, and then you will notice that in some cases there's like this little icon that appears beside some of the features. If you just click on that, either directly through Sarah or some folks from our end will reach out to you and you can have a chat and do an upgrade. In some cases, I think for the starter, you can upgrade directly from the system itself. And it's a matter of few minutes and you will have access to the system.
Cool. I
Maybe I'll
think
add to that also, Mega. Uh, so our experience at Get Creative is because we do have a slew of different types of clients that we service. We do have clients who start out with the freemium HubSpot subscription, so they try out all the different marketing service and sales hubs on a freemium free account where we support them throughout that process so that they could discover the different features that they would need a full-time implementation, meaning a paid implementation, so they can choose the right subscription for them. We do have clients also who maybe start out. The one thing I love about HubSpot really is the fact that you can really start from whatever your priority is. So some companies that we work with, they prioritize their marketing efforts first, and or there are other companies that prioritize their sales efforts first, and then as they do their implementation they realize that service is an important component to ensure that they're keeping their customers happy, and then that's when they upgrade to a paid account that provides more features. But when you come into using the paid subscription for marketing, automatically you'll get access to Service Hub. Although the features are limited, it allows you to time to explore. And I think that's where Lay and his team really thrive in helping customers really figure out the best implementation for them. So I'll let Lay speak a little bit about his experience there. Go ahead, Lay.
Yeah, like what Sarah mentioned, there are customers that tried that focus on a particular hub first, right? And then eventually explore the free functionalities. For example, like what Sarah said, that you're subscribed to Marketing Pro, let's say, but you still have the Sales Hub and the Service Hub activated for you. The free features and limited features, though. However, that still fits some of the needs. For example, my team is more of marketing focused, and then I need the chat, our Facebook Messenger to flow in. Still, would be able to get that functionality. I need tickets. I have a free service hub that I can establish one pipeline and accommodate tickets and track tickets. So that's the beauty of HubSpot. Even though you're not paying for those hubs yet, you still get to taste what it uh, what the functionalities are, right? And you get introduced and get more curious, and then see what value it can bring you, right? So yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Lay, Sarah, and Vega. I think we have time for one last question to answer, and this one is from Julian. It's quite lengthy, so allow me to read it. Our current service process includes a lot of manual processes, emails, texts, and calls mostly. We have introduced iMessaging apps as we found some customers prefer this channel, like Viber and WhatsApp. We would want to implement the Service Hub to incorporate all of the different channels so that we capture all customer inputs. We currently aren't using Service Hub yet and are just on the free version, but are looking towards improving the processes of our customer satisfaction teams. Oh, so I guess he has a couple of questions. The first one is, would we be able to include all of these channels into Service Hub? And the second is, how would you suggest we go about migrating our CSTs processes into Service Hub so that we don't add any more steps and actually improve the efficiency of our teams? Very insightful. Thanks, Julian, for asking. So, yeah.
I can go first. I'll be the bearer of a not so good news here. We won't be able to accommodate Viber and WhatsApp as a channel yet. The operative word being yet. Keep your ears peeled. We have a few updates that are coming in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully, some of these can be included soon. But as of today, we're not able to include them. For your second question, it's really interesting, and I'm glad you asked this because this is something that a lot of our customers or our prospects don't do, which is mapping out their current process, right? Map out the process, do a bit of a interview session with, like I mentioned, right, some of your customers and with your internal team, and ask them where the biggest friction point and bottlenecks are, because ultimately you want a system like HubSpot or any kind of CRM system to help you mitigate that friction. So try and find that out, and then look at some of the things that HubSpot provides out of the box, right? Like, let's say things like pipelines that you can create for your tickets, right? Knowledge base that you can generate for some self service, and three, some very basic NPS surveys that you can do, right? This is, I would say, like customer service 101, right? Once you've put all of that together, that's when you kind of go into, okay, assessing what's worked, what's not worked, what can we do to kind of augment this service process a bit more. And then you look at the next tier, which could be things like automation in terms of reaching out to a certain ticket creator depending on how happy they are with the service, creating some more extra reports to track what's the time to close, what's the time to actually respond, set some SLAs over. So you don't have to do everything at one go. Step one, figure out what's working for your team, find the bottlenecks. To use some of the basic HubSpot features first before you kind of go into the next few levels to try and utilize all the features. Yeah, that's from my end. Over to you, Sarah, Lay.
uh, I guess I want to add a few things on what Mega said. Um, w- when migrating the process from, let's say, your old process from one platform, HubSpot, it's very important that we dig into the pain points, right? Because those pain points are the one that we will be trying to address, or we are going to directly address moving into a CRM platform like HubSpot. So it's really the like what Mega mentioned, list down what's working and then what's not working, and then let's focus on what's not working. How do we make it work when we migrate to HubSpot? So those are the important things to consider. And I think once we have that in place, then migration to HubSpot will at least be smoother than the usual. Yeah, Sarah.
I have to say though, like when we're connecting third party systems into HubSpot, there are many approaches to it. There are some third party providers also who provide the connection for things like Viber and WhatsApp. But normally they're connected to help desk systems. So like if you have a call center that manages thousands of calls, for example, and it's time for you to be able to connect the Viber and WhatsApp channel. We do have contacts of third party applications that can help with that. Um, but at the end of the day, we really are just very mindful of the impact of such integrations. If it complicates the process even more, I think it's important for us to focus on foundation, really making sure that we have the right process in place, and like you said, not adding to the processes that you have, just making sure that it's connected to the current process that is in place in HubSpot. HubSpot is a technology after all. And I think the biggest challenge for everyone who is implementing technology these days is really the fact that it's so fast, the development of technology. So I'm hearing a slight foreboding from Mega, because she's mentioning that there's probably some changes happening. And, to be honest with you, we've been on HubSpot since 2015. And the innovations that we've seen HubSpot has done since then just it surpasses the type of innovation that we think was possible. And I think a big factor there is really how they listen to the clients, to us, the customers, even as partners, are customers for them. So being able to have that avenue wherein you can let HubSpot know um, what what uh, what features are required. For example, HubSpot user groups, like the one that we have, is also an avenue wherein we can raise these requests. And I've seen HubSpot on a personal level, on my use, at least for our company, really respond to the needs of the client. And I think the reason why that investment on HubSpot for us since 2015 has stuck, because we saw them innovate for our needs, and we're seeing them innovate for the needs of our clients. And I think that's really what's important when you're making an investment on technology. They need to be able to solve for your issues and not solve for their system. And I think that's what HubSpot really does. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, Lay, and Mega. I think it was great that we ended on that note that HubSpot is really about innovation. And also at Get Creative, we say that we bet on the brands that innovate, and HubSpot is definitely one of them. It also perfectly aligns with what Mega shared today about the Service Hub updates, because they are really good updates, especially the SLAs. In our last Tambay, um, Rana and Jenny were able to talk a little bit about the SLAs and how it's really improved their experience in St. Peter. So a lot of improvements, a lot of innovations, and thank you guys for such a hearty Q&A. All right. So at
I
this
think there's
point,
another question for Mega.
okay.
Kind of
So
topic question for Julian from Julian.
sure. Before we go into the group fee, Mega, you want to answer Julian's question? When and
Yeah,
where
I'm
did
also interested.
I could actually find one of our sessions from Manila Improv Festival, but I'm not in it. I don't know if you want to watch that. we have we don't put up that many, but I'm gonna share just one of them maybe if someone's really interested.
Yeah. Love
yeah,
to
Please
see
do.
that, Mega.
or maybe
Yeah.
some
Oh, big
video
fan of
content.
improv.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually it's not embarrassing at all, guys.
Mega, maybe we can share it in our hug feed.
No,
Like as
I
yeah.
included a link to the improv Manila Improv Festival one, so you can take a look at that.
Yay.
Oh,
Oh
there you
yay.
go.
Additional good
Yeah,
nuggets
there
for
you go.
today.
Let's
All
put this
right.
on the hug feed.
We can put it in our post eval. Fun nugget for
Yeah.
those who attended. Anyway, so at this point, we're now gonna take a quick bevy group fee. So I invite everybody to turn on their cameras so that we can take a photo. There are 27 or 26 of us in the bevy room right now. Hello to Kimmy, Julian, David, Grace. Oh, Julian, it's
Miss
definitely obvious
Jenny is
that
here
it's 5 a.m. in the
also.
morning. Jenny is here as well. Oh, like I mentioned, Jenny from St. Peter Life Plan. Dex is here too, our intern, along with Diane. Anybody else who's turning on their camera? Ino, Rebecca, and Alexis are here as well. Hello, Jenny. Wow, nice zoom in,
Yes, yes.
zoom in picture.
It's
Okay,
nice to see Jenny. Hey Jenny, how you doing? Long
I'm
time.
good. I'm good. Hello. Nice to see you, Mega.
okay.
All right.
It's
Hello.
two. We have two pages, so I'm gonna take a picture twice. For the first page, everybody smile in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'll take the next page. Smile again in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, cool. Thank you, everybody,
All right.
for turning on your camera. You can turn it off now if you prefer. Um, but on that note, we will continue on with our program. We still have a few things to cover before we end this afternoon. And the first one is our promotion for Hug Manila Tambay 2. So after this event, we do have an upcoming one, which is our second Hug Manila Tambay. And this time we are going to be joined by Kimmy or Kimberly Chua of Moment to Moment. So she's going to join us for a fireside chat and also some talks about the Sales Hub. So I know Kimmy's here in the bevy. I'd like to call you on stage so you can give our huggers a teaser about what they can expect in the Hug Manila Tambay 2.
Yes, yes. Hello. Thank you for the intro. Hi, Hug Manila. I'm Kimmy, an abundance coach from Moment to Moment. So I help individuals and teams manage physical, mental, and financial stress. And so maybe you can answer this quick question in the chat. Would you believe that we can befriend stress? So is that a yes, maybe, or nah? So feel free to share with us in the chat. What do you think? And so, in moment to moment, we encourage people to practice the pause through facilitating sessions on breathwork, laughter, and gratitude practice. So, let's see. Yeah. So, maybe, yes, yes. So, there are times that it can be our friend. Yes. So, we can explore ways how we can befriend it. And we can also explore ways as to how we can listen to it and allow its intensity to slowly um, lower down. Yeah. So for some would say, I think yes. Yeah, we could. Yes, time to explore that, to accept and use it as our advantage. Woohoo! Thank you for sharing. Yes, with one another's guidance as well. And as a stress management consultant, it's important that I'm also able to manage stress myself and stay organized. And so, um, before using HubSpot, my data would be all over the place, so somewhat fit would be on this folder or maybe on a cloud. And so through this is where HubSpot saves the day. I'm able to reconnect with past clients and workshop participants, kind of check in with them. Hey, how are you? And really receive a response and track that as well. So and making sure that I'm able to follow up with clients and prospects as well. So, in a nutshell, this is how HubSpot has helped me um, manage, my sales processes and CRM as well. So, I'd like to demonstrate it through a mindful movement practice. So, I hope you can join me in this. It's just quick. So, I'm going to invite you, to stretch your arms out forward like this. So since we're all huggers, stretch your arms out as if giving each other a virtual hug. Fantastic, everyone. And we're going to slowly crisscross our arms, maybe holding onto our upper arms or our shoulders. So some would call this the butterfly hug. For some, the self hug, and maybe let's take a moment to tell ourselves, "Hey, self, I'm proud of you." Or maybe saying, "Thank you, self, for being you." Yeah, and this is how HubSpot has helped me. So maybe slowly uncrossing our arms. Feel free to linger on there if you would prefer. And that feeling, that exact feeling of feeling more secure, having a more streamlined process, and being more focused, and as if literally receiving a hug. No, that's how the experience has been like. And so, and feel free to also let us know how that exercise went for you. You can prolong the hug for a bit. For some, they would prefer closing their eyes. And this is also where I would like to invite each and every one of you to sign up as well for the Hug Manila Tambay 2. So that's happening on August 4. So let's mark our calendars. You can RSVP for that. So that's 5:30 to 6 p.m. live in the Hug Manila Facebook group. So just in case you're not yet in that group, let's also join that, no? And support one another. So let's talk about how Sales Hub can do wonders in supporting a community and one's business as well. So once again, virtual hugs to everyone, and thank you for being game to join in that quick exercise. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kimmy. I think it just goes full circle that for the upcoming Tambay, we're going to talk about Sales Hub because today we're talking about Service Hub, and in the past two events, we've talked about marketing. So it's really a full experience for everybody here. Again, if you have not yet, please do register or RSVP for the Hug Manila Tambay 2. The bit.ly link is there on the screen, but we're also sending it in our chat for everybody to join. David has also sent in the FB group for you guys to join too. We send updates there. All right, we're almost done with the program for the meetup. We do have our event wrap up. So our next steps are if you'd like to share some feedback about today's event, things you've learned, maybe insights, or things you want to learn more about HubSpot, feel free to share them here in our feedback form. You can go to the bit.ly link, Hug Manila Feedback, or you can also scan the QR code on the screen right now. I'll give you guys 3 seconds to take a screenshot or scan. 3, 2, what? But if you haven't, don't worry. David is on track with me. He's also sharing the links side by side in our chat. Also, for those who weren't able to ask questions, or if after this session you have questions that you want to ask, we will do a post Q&A on our socials. So come next week, June 20 to 24, we'll do a post in the Facebook group and LinkedIn where you can ask your questions in the comments, and we'll relay them to Megha so that she can answer them accordingly. But yeah, this is your opportunity to ask if you weren't able to ask today during our Q&A, since we are limited in terms of time. We also have some additional resources for you. So I know earlier in the session we were already sharing some resources, some courses to look at. I have yet to watch Mega's video or improv video, so I'm gonna check that out too. But here are some additional resources related to the Service Hub. If you want to know more about the Service Hub updates, Get Creative has a blog on that. There is also a template you can get from HubSpot. It's the Customer Service 101 Ultimate Guide. You can download that and use it as a template for maybe starting your customer service automation journey. And also, in line with the courses that were mentioned earlier, I think Megha mentioned this too. If you want to learn more about implementing customer service automation, there is a HubSpot Academy course for that. So for all of the links, I know David has already put them in the chat. All right. So much for events. Here's one event that we're all excited to join or be part of, Inbound 2022. This is a yearly event where you can connect with dozens of impactful speakers, explore new perspectives from thousands of business leaders, and really learn more about inbound, learn more about attracting, engaging, and delighting with customers. And this is going to happen both virtual and in person. So for those who are already joining or those who already have the inbound tickets, type in the chat if you have. But if you haven't yet, David has also put in the chat the link to where you can register for the event. So I hope to see everybody here at Inbound 2022 as well. Just a few more things. If you'd like to learn more about HubSpot, or if you're a local business and you need help with HubSpot, we have a QR code here on the screen, and you can book a meeting with Get Creative, with Sarah or Lay or anyone else in the team, um, so that we can be able to address your challenges or the things that you need with HubSpot. So I'll give everybody a few seconds again to to take a screenshot or scan the QR code if any of you want to learn more about Service Hub, or think about um, maybe upgrading or starting your Service Hub journey on HubSpot with Get Creative. But while this is on the screen, I just want to highlight the Get Creative team who's here, and is really the backbone of helping companies grow better with HubSpot, for the Philippines, for Manila. Like I mentioned, Sarah is our chief advocate. She's our CEO. Belle is also here, our chief curator. She's also done a lot of work on the HubSpot and Adobe side for Get Creative. Lay is our head of innovations. I think a lot of our attendees here have seen Lay and have worked with Lay. And along with Lay is also Che or Rochelle, our technology evangelist, also a fan favorite for the clients. I'm Sam, the design guru. And we also have Dea, our creative catalyst here. Our finance girls are here as well, Roslyn and Princess, our finance specialists, and our interns at Get Creative. So we have two marketing interns now. David, who's very active in the chat, helping you guys as a chat master, and Francesca, who's new to the team, as well as Diane and Dex, our systems interns who are also going to use HubSpot. So, from the Get Creative team to you guys, we say hello. And last but not the least, if you are interested in attending more events like this, joining more huggers from the Philippines, both on this side of the world and on the other side of the world, Filipinos as well, feel free to join our community groups. We have one on LinkedIn, one on Facebook, and one also on HubSpot community. So the HubSpot community uh, link is where you can access all the event pages to our upcoming events, as well as the event pages to past events. So if you weren't able to attend the past events, you can check out the recordings there. We put it up so that everybody is up to date with things, with learning about HubSpot. So that is it. Thank you again, guys, for joining. That wraps up our event for this afternoon or this evening, and I hope you guys had an excellent time with us. See you on our community groups and on our next meetups. Before we go, I just want to thank Mega for spending time today to share about customer service, automation, and the Service Hub, and for Sarah and Lay for sharing their insights and their energy during the Hug Manila panel. Again, my name is Sam from Get Creative. I'm also your Hug Manila leader and your host for today. This has been the 2022 Q2 Meetup, HubSpot for service automation, customer service, and ticketing. Thank you guys for coming, and see you in the next one. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mega.
Thank
Everyone.
you. Bye.
Bye. Keep
Thank you,
safe.
Julian.
Bye.
Thanks, Jenny.